Ladies and gentlemen, what it do? This is your boy Mr. Curl himself. And as I said on stream, this is a topic that needs to be addressed. The Lightfall debacle, or whatever you want to call it. As I've stated, those of you who have been on the stream, y'all know my feelings on Lightfall. I love it. I love the way they've been delivering it. Story wise, gameplay wise, etc. But it seems like I'm a part of a very small group of people that actually enjoy the way they've been handling Lightfall. Specifically, the story, how the story has been delivered. Apparently, the masses hate the way the campaign was delivered narratively. They say the gameplay is amazing, but the narrative, they hate the way it was. And to be direct, they're talking about we didn't learn about the veil in the story. Even though we slick did, it just, I don't know, went over your heads, or you didn't pay, you weren't really involved into what was said. But we don't know much about the lore of the veil and what the veil is, this, that, and the third. We didn't find out about the Cloud Striders in the campaign. We should have had more information, more things, to make us really care about Rohan's death and this, that, and the third. I start off this as I always start off when I touch this subject. Everybody's opinion is their opinion. I have no qualms with how you feel about the game. Like, if you didn't like the campaign, that's fine. If you like the campaign, that's fine too. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. The problem I have is when you cross that line of turning your opinion into a fact and start saying that, oh, Bungie failed at delivering the story. Now you've crossed a fine line, which honestly is disrespectful, just to be honest, because it wasn't done the way you would have done it. Then you should have done your own. You know what I'm saying? So no, it wasn't a failure, especially if there's more players now than there's ever been and they're still playing. It's like, no, statistically it's not a failure. But also, just from the respect standpoint, to say because it wasn't done the way I would have done it, that's disrespectful. I might not like it, but that doesn't mean you failed at delivering the content. So, in touching on that specifically, like I said, everybody was saying it should have been more about the veil and the Cloud Striders in the actual campaign itself. So, I disagree with that. Here's why I disagree. I think that people, because we just learned about the veil like at the end of last year, leading into this year, so it kind of, everything kind of amassed. It's several factors that play into it, because we've known about the veil way long time ago, but people thought it was going to actually be another race and, a whole bunch of conspiracy theories. So it was basically a lot of hype behind what the veil is. Going into Lightfall and the witness and what the witness's plans actually are and things like that. There's a lot of things going into Lightfall that everybody was expecting all these answers to happen in the campaign itself. And while I get that, what I need you to also realize is that you have to be engaged in what is actually happening in the story. Like, not just what you want to learn lore-wise, but what's actually happening. Keep in mind, character-wise, we just found out about Neptune and his people, and that there's actually people that escaped during the collapse that made it to Neptune. We're learning that this thing, like in game, we learned that, there's this thing called the Veil that the witness is after. And it's on Neptune. So it's like, it's a lot of things that came in character-wise. Like, our character in the story is realizing that the other characters are learning and realizing while we're heading to Neptune. But also, keep in mind, the witness is here. Right here with Earth. Confronting us face to face. Like, it's do or die time. It's the end game. We're in life or death. Fight or flight. Second collapse approaching. High alert status. We're in fight back mode. We're in fight or flight. We're in this mode right now. The traveler has stepped up and is like, yo, it's time to hold the line. And we're here like, yeah, It's time to hold the line. And then we managed to get to Neomuna, well, Neptune, and discover, Neomuna and its inhabitants. But when we get there, they're in the middle of a fight too. The Shadow Legion is there. The Shadow Legion beat us there, but not only is the Shadow Legion there, the Vex is there as well. So we're in the middle of a war. Like this is the war. Like all the things we fought up until now. Nah, this is the conflict we've been dreading. This is the conflict we've been preparing for. We're in it. Neomuna's in it. So when we get there, even though we're trying to stop the witness from getting to the veil, right? We get there, and then we meet the Cloud Striders, this, that, and the third. They're the defenders of the city. They're like that city's versions of the Guardians and things like that. So don't forget, we're in a war. It ain't no time to talk about, hey, like, oh, we gotta save the people, but the veil, it's this big thing because the veil started with, and then this leads into like, no. When we get there, we learn that the veil is tied into Neomuna's way of life, the way they power their city, things that we don't see any people. Oh, that's because they're inside the Cloud Arc. The Cloud Arc is sustained by the veil, and it runs because of it. So automatically off top, our character's mindset has to shift into, oh, we gotta. If the veil is destroyed or taken, whatever the witness wants to do with it, that's going to kill these people. Like that, this is a whole civilization of people about to be wiped out if the veil is messed up. Like we're in do or die mode. There's no room to bring in this dynamic lore and understanding of this dynamic entity. Now, with that being said, we're given a very important clue as to what the veil is towards the end of the campaign. Because when we finally get in that room where the veil is, our ghost says this is giving me the same feeling as the Traveler, but from the standpoint of darkness. That in itself is a big statement. No, it's not an in detailed several pages of lore explanation of it, but that in itself lets you know that, oh, this is definitely going to lead to something big. And that something big is, discovering what the veil is. But you can't do that within a campaign, which is only probably like 8 missions long, unless they decide to make their campaign extra long. But in order to go and start talking about that, you're going to get off of the narrative of, we need to help these people of Neomuna. We need to save them. But on top of that, we got to help, like, back Earth, we're losing too. The Shadow Legion has started taking prisoners. The Witness is here confronting the Traveler. It surrounded it with his pyramid ships. Like, we just know we have to stop it. Think about it. If you're in an emergency situation, you're going to try to stop that situation. And then on the back end, you're going to learn, okay, why did this happen? And how can we prevent it from happening again? You don't think about that while you're in the situation. Y'all have to put yourselves back into the story and understand, no, we were in a do or die situation and had to save countless number of lives. That, no, learning about the Cloud Striders lore would have taken away from the urgency of what we were doing. Learning about the people of Neomuna and the veil and how it does what it does and what it really is, that would have taken away from the urgency of the situation. That's why it came later. And to me, it's masterful how they did it, because now the way they did it, how we find out about the Witness and the significance of the veil and his plans, that tied into another mystery in the game that we learned back in year 1 of D2. Which is the Leviathan of Titan, who we now know is Asa, who we now know is a proto-worm god. Because we don't know the name of the race before they became worm gods, but we know her race is what was, approached by the Witness and turned into worm gods. We now know all this. Like, it ties so many things together. Sloane is back, and like, so many things are brought into light in the way they did it. So while I go back, You don't have to like the way it's done, and that's totally fine. But to say it was a failure, you're way stepping over the lines on that one, because it was not a failure. You just have to take a step back and look at what's happening and truly understand what's happening in the moment. Live in the moment. And you will see, like, oh, okay, that actually was pretty good. Not the way I would have done it, not the way I personally like it, but yeah, it is what it is. So yeah, I just had to put that out there to kind of really set the record straight on a lot of things for those of you who are thinking about getting into Destiny and was hearing all these things and this, that, and the third. It's like, well, for starters, I always say try stuff yourself. Don't, take somebody else's opinion on something you're possibly interested in, or that you are interested in and want to find out more about it. Jump in yourself and figure it out. But just to clarify that, because at first it's just been kind of all preference, but people, major figures in the community have started saying, oh, they failed. It's too late. Why did y'all wait till this season to tell us? Y'all should have told us this first season. I'm like, no. You have to deal with an emergency first to stabilize things or get to some kind of level ground before you can come back and start filling in details as to why, when, what, and how it happened. And yeah, as always, I'm always open to hear what y'all got to say, how y'all feel, this, that, and the third. Let me know if you feel that, if you disagree with what I'm saying, and let me know how it was a failure, or why what I'm saying is off, if it doesn't make sense. Shoot, maybe we should have tapped into the veil to learn about it in the witness's plan before actually stopping it from doing what it, like, maybe we had time and I didn't see the time. I don't know. Maybe we did. You know what I'm saying? Let your boy know. You know what I'm saying? Until next time, I am out.